I've thrown out all your stuff. We're gonna be living in this house now. So could you move out?
When I called our home, Betty picked up and dropped this bombshell on me. Honestly, I couldn't grasp what she was talking about. I mean, I didn't even have anything in that house.
Look, I'm divorced and living in France right now. All my belongings are here in France, so there shouldn't be anything of mine back there. Whose stuff did you throw out?
Huh?
Betty froze in surprise and the call fell silent. The belongings Betty claimed to have thrown out were quite extraordinary.
My name is Mary. I'm 23 and I work as an artist. I recently bought a newly built house with my husband John, who is the same age as me.
John and I met in college initially as friends of opposite genders. However, it seemed like John had feelings for me since the day we met at the entrance ceremony. Our first encounter happened when I was lost on the massive campus during the entrance ceremony. John happened to pass by and kindly showed me the way. From that day, we became good friends. We even found out we were in the same department and chose the same courses based on mutual interests, helping each other with reports and research papers. Our friends often teased us, asking if we were dating. And when we denied it, they would say, "Well, why don't you?" So, it was inevitable that we would start thinking about each other that way.
After securing a job offer, John proposed, "I want us to date with the intention of getting married."
Although puzzled, I saw the seriousness in John's face, and not disliking him, agreed to go out with him. Since we knew each other from college, we got married after dating for just 3 months. But the happy marital life didn't last long.
John comes from a wealthy family, and they gifted us a new house as a wedding present.
It seemed like John also landed a great job at a top-notch company. But John's parents seemed to disapprove of me.
Do artists like you actually make money? Hard to believe that a young woman artist like you can produce valuable art.
I am in the process of making a name for myself right now.
Unbelievable. Did you marry your son with the intention of mooching off him until you become famous?
No, John was the one who proposed.
Seeing John's parents frown upon me, I was bewildered. After all, I had gone to college just to have a degree and a teaching license as a backup. My main plan was to make a living as an artist. I also have a teaching license in art as a backup if my art career doesn't take off.
John knew that when he proposed to me.
However, it seems like John's parents were not aware, and they started grumbling after we got married. I was completely blindsided. John, on the other hand, just played dumb, as if he couldn't stand up to his parents. I confronted John with my concerns when we got home.
Why didn't you tell your parents?
Well, it's obvious they wouldn't approve. You can tell just by the way they act.
John also looked concerned as he responded. I wonder if we can ever get along with his parents. Maybe I'm asking for too much. I was feeling torn. Being an artist is not like having a 9-to-5 job. The income is unstable, and it could take years to make a name for myself. To Catherine, John's mom, it made sense to think I was just after their money. There are people who don't understand art or artists. Art is not a basic necessity. Life would go on just fine without art in the world, but I think that a single painting can enrich someone's life. I believe that wasn't my only concern. There was another problem. John's sister, Betty. Not only did she not understand art, she seemed to have her eyes set on our new home that we had received as a wedding gift from John's parents.
Hey John, we have extra rooms, right? Why don't we all live together?
Betty clung to John, proposing they move in with us.
No way. Why would we want to live with you right after getting married?
John seemed annoyed as he pushed Betty away.
It's fine. You guys don't have kids, right? We can help take care of any future kids.
Is she just trying to offload her own kids onto us? I stared at Betty suspiciously. She didn't seem to like me one bit.
You know, John, you could have married someone prettier or someone who makes more money. What's so fun about keeping a struggling artist at home?
I was so shocked by Betty's frankness that I was at a loss for words.
Stop talking like that, Betty. It's disrespectful to Mary. Are you saying I have bad taste?
Do you not? Are you trying to be her patron or something? What do you gain from this?
Betty wasn't holding back, even with her own brother.
I don't measure my marriage in gains or losses. I just genuinely want to be with Mary.
John glared at Betty with a voice tinged with anger. But Betty just chuckled.
But why so mad? Hit a nerve, huh? My little brother is so cute. You really are a hopeless romantic.
To Betty, the word cute wasn't a compliment. It was something she would say to someone she looked down upon. In her eyes, Betty saw her brother as nothing more than a yappy little dog.
After Betty finally left satisfied, John kept apologizing to me, saying, "I'm really sorry."
What I remember feeling wasn't so much anger towards John's family as it was sadness. I had hoped to get along with John's relatives, but their attitudes consistently disappointed me. So I came up with a plan.
John, let's get divorced.
Divorce? Hold on. If this is about my family, I'll apologize. I'll even talk to them. Please reconsider the divorce.
Then I shared my thoughts with him. John seemed to calm down a bit.
I understand where you're coming from, Mary. But do we really need to divorce?
If we say we're divorced, I think your family will finally be at ease. We can think about what to do next afterward.
All right.
So we told John's parents we were divorcing. Both father-in-law and mother-in-law were thrilled.
Finally, John has come to his senses.
Told you this wouldn't last with a woman like her.
John and I clenched our fists on our laps, hiding our true feelings as we endured.
I'll be going on a business trip to our office in France, so I'll be away for a while. After that, I intend to divorce Mary, officially. In the meantime, Mary will look after the house.
Then can I stay at the house too? Leaving her alone makes me nervous. She looks like she would steal.
Betty, who had been at the in-laws' house, seized the opportunity. More than angry for being treated like a thief, I felt like the trap was set and the prey was caught.
Sure, we have a spare room. You're welcome to stay.
You're so arrogant, welcoming me when you're about to lose this house.
I just flashed a frustrated smile, holding back the words that she was the arrogant one. Say whatever you want. After this, we are going to be beyond your reach. And so John flew off to France, leaving Betty and me in the new home. The next day, I made a proposal to Betty.
Betty, I have a favor to ask. Turns out I've been invited to travel by a friend back home. Can you look after the house while I'm gone?
Even though John asked you to, Betty started, then suddenly fell silent and smirked. Sure, I'd be happy to help. I'll take care of this house. Have a safe trip.
I handed Betty the keys, packed my bags, and left the house. So this is goodbye to our new home. Though I felt a twinge of regret, I made sure not to look back and headed for the airport. And a week later, I decided to call Betty.
Betty, how's everything at home?
Oh, I threw out your stuff.
My stuff?
From now on, my husband and I will be enjoying this home just for ourselves. No place for you to come back to.
Betty was after our new home all along.
Why don't you just live at your friend's place back in the countryside? Although having a parasitic artist like you must be a hassle, huh?
I'm sorry. Actually, I lied.
What?
Betty was gently surprised by my sudden confession. Betty was genuinely surprised by my sudden confession.
What do you mean lied?
Right now, I'm not at a friend's place in the countryside. I'm in France.
What? France?
Yep, Esses. She's with me now.
John's voice interrupted, coming through the speakerphone.
What's going on? Weren't you two getting a divorce?
We did divorce to submit our marriage papers in France.
Over the past few days, John and I were bustling about to prepare for our life in France. We both got short-term visas. John went ahead to secure our new home, and all our stuff was shipped over. Then we switched from short-term visas to residency permits and decided to live in France. We thought that even the in-laws wouldn't chase us overseas. We haven't told John's parents where in France we are. No matter how wealthy he is, they wouldn't come searching for us without reason, especially when they think we are divorced. John going to the French branch was true, but it wasn't for business. It was an overseas assignment he wanted, and so we started our life together again by getting married in France.
By the way, Betty, whose belongings did you throw away?
I don't know. I thought they were yours. There were weird paintings, like oil paintings.
The moment I heard oil paintings, it clicked.
Ah, so those belongings must be Dad's.
What? Why is Dad's stuff at your place?
Henry asked us to store them. He ran out of space.
Henry? dubious about a young woman like me making it as an artist, collected oil paintings himself, but there's only so much space to display art. Henry's collection had outgrown his home, so he targeted ours.
It's our new home. We can use it how we want.
He had set and stored his collection in one of our rooms.
Hey, did you hear that? Go get those paintings from the dumpster now.
Betty's voice flipped as she yelled presumably at her husband. But in the end, the paintings Betty had thrown away had already been picked up.
What do I do now if Dad finds out?
Henry was a wealthy and powerful man. Turns out, even within a family, he was someone you wouldn't want to cross.
You caused all of this. What are you gonna do about it?
Excuse me, how is this my fault? You're the one who threw away a painting that belonged to someone else, aren't you?
Shut up. Just shut up. Fix this.
Betty was just hysterical, shrieking and wailing. Clearly, she wasn't capable of solving this problem.
Well, it's none of our business anymore, haha. Good luck with that, sis. Bye.
And with that, we ended the call. So here's the epilogue. In the end, it came to light that Betty had secretly thrown away Henry's art collection, and she was subsequently ostracized by the family. Not only that, but she was also hit with a bill for the value of the discarded paintings, a debt she couldn't possibly pay. Even her husband, who had been eyeing Henry's assets, had enough and saddled her with more debt before demanding a divorce. It turned out Betty's marriage was just as transactional as she had claimed. Since then, Betty has been living a lonely life in a small, rundown apartment, barely making ends meet with part-time jobs. Luckily for us, she doesn't have the means to chase us to France for revenge. Wondering how we know about Betty's tough times in New York? She calls us to vent her grievances. You would think international calls are expensive, but hey, not my problem.
Ugh, I hate you so much. If you ever come back to New York, you're not forgiven.
Oh, scary, scary lol. No plans to return to New York anytime soon, so you can relax.
In France, there are a few conditions, but generally you can become a naturalized citizen if you have lived here for over 5 years. John and I are considering just that. We have no lingering attachment to New York. I continue to study art in the city of Paris, a haven for artists. A revered artist I look up to is passionately teaching me and even helps me find art gigs, which is extremely helpful. My reputation is gradually growing, and I'm currently swamped preparing for my own solo art exhibition. John's job at the France office is going well too. Together, we enjoy life in Paris, studying the French language and engaging in cross-cultural exchanges. Paris is a melting pot, and John and I have befriended people from diverse backgrounds, not just fellow Americans. This multicultural experience offers a fresh thrill we never felt in New York, fueling our creative energies. Next vacation, John and I are planning to visit the Louvre Museum to gain inspiration for my next artwork.